What's up team, Nsima the Centaur Inyang here. Now, I know a lot of you guys have been asking about a shoulder mobility video. You probably saw the title, This Isn't It. This is the video that I talked about making a long time ago. That's actually really simple. It's about hip hinge. Now, hip hinge is something that's super important when you're squatting, when you're getting yourself into position for a deadlift, and it's something that a lot of people do wrong. Now, what do people usually do wrong when they're trying to execute the hip hinge? What people usually do is they stick their ass out, or they forcefully have anterior pelvic tilt. And anterior pelvic tilt is pretty much just disconnecting the hips or disconnecting the pelvis from the torso, okay? So you're sticking your ass out, and then they'll go down into a squat or they'll get themselves into position for a deadlift. But what you want to do to execute hip hinge correctly is number one, execute midline stabilization. So there's a video I made about midline stabilization in the past. The gist of it is that you want to keep your rib cage over your pelvis. You want to keep, imagine your rib cage and pelvis are two bowls pouring into each other, and you want to start off in that position. If you want to know more about this, go watch that video over there. Okay, it's at the top right, it's linked. Go check it out, midline stabilization. But after you execute midline stabilization and then you're set, your torso set, your pelvis set, you're in a strong position, the best cue I've ever used for clients or anyone when trying to execute hip hinge is trying to imagine that there is a dresser behind you, an open drawer. Okay, this may sound weird initially, but imagine that there's a dresser and it's open and it's behind you. And imagine that now you're trying to keep the pelvis and the rib cage obviously as one unit so they don't open up, and you're just trying to close the drawer with your ass. Okay, without sticking your ass out, while keeping the torso or the rib cage and the pelvis connected. You're going to hinge at the hips, the knees are gonna come, you're gonna flex at the knees a little bit, and you're gonna push it back. That is literally perfect hip hinge. If your torso disconnects from your pelvis and you end up being open like that, you're doing it wrong. Remember, you wanna keep midline stabilization active, okay? And then just imagine that you're closing a drawer while keeping all that active, and then you've executed hip hinge. That is the easiest cue I've ever had to utilize for anybody, but the only way to use this cue correctly is if you're braced correctly. So remember, keeping the rib cage above the hips and then closing the drawer behind you. If you have any questions about this, comment down below. This was short and sweet. I love these types of videos. You can use it, it's practical, it's easy to execute as long as you're doing the right things. It's just so simple. Oh, this is so simple. Anyway, I'll see you guys at the LA Fit Expo. This is Nsima the Centaur Inyang from Break the Bar, Be an Anomaly, and I'll talk to all of you very soon.